Hi, and welcome back. Organizational, legal, industrial, and human constraints need to be taken into account when defining and implementing projects. This video walks you through decisions regarding the three elements of the project baseline and how to manage inherent dilemmas in the project constraints. Let's get started. The initial analysis and work on the business case can be seen in another video on this channel, and it's covered in detail here, along with a number of other project management topics needed to do a proper job. The link is here. After the business case, the next step is to analyze the various and often opposing constraints in the scope of functions and quality requirements, in costs and resource availability, and in scheduled deadlines to be met. The three elements are interconnected and constitute the baseline of projects from the very beginning. This is the agreed contract basis and a fixed starting point for reference that is applied for comparison purposes. Let's first set up the project baseline. Constraint management is about identifying the three critical aspects of project implementation in the baseline and ensuring continuous alignment between them. As they are interconnected, attention is therefore on the fact that adjusting one aspect will affect the other aspects of the project. This is portrayed in a triangular relationship. The constraint triangle shows the interrelationship and reciprocity between the three aspects. It's the most important tool for dialogue among key stakeholders in weighing up the project content in the preparation and planning phases. Decisions must ensure consistency in the baseline before project implementation. Thus, the project scope and ultimately the purpose almost never is decided isolated. It's always under the influence of funds and time available. The three basic questions related to the baselines are: how can we meet the required achievements in the deliverables related to the project scope? How should we fund the project and deliver within available resources? What are the milestones for delivered solutions? In some projects, the initial clarification of the basic questions is iterative and lengthy due to conflicting interests to be negotiated among powerful players. There may also be free riders who would like to enjoy the benefits of the project's deliverables without wanting to contribute to its funding and staffing. Often, therefore, compromises have to be made on both solutions and the use of resources. This may even develop into crazy time, with stakeholders using every opportunity to secretly decouple themselves from the project realization while pretending they are still in on the efforts. These issues are elaborated in another video on the channel. Now it's time to align the project baseline constraints. The baseline elements most often end up being boxed. This means that they are locked and cannot be changed without consequences for the project. A later postponement of deadlines may not be possible due to binding commissioning agreements with the product owner. An increase in resources spent on implementation may not be possible due to financial constraints. New requirements for more comprehensive solutions may not be possible without major and costly alteration of the final product. In the preparation phase, project baselines are initially negotiated on the basis of project constraints, and an agreement is reached weighing up the three elements. Then a solution is established that balances the different demands of the stakeholders. The constraints are numerous and seem to fall within four categories, each with some complex underlying issues. These are organizational factors relating to logistics and financing issues, legal factors relating to regulatory compliance and procedure issues, industrial factors relating to work processes and deployment of resources, and finally human factors relating to resistance among stakeholders and institutionalized cultural values. These constraint factors are closely associated with the baseline design. For example, in the project scope clarification, you may need to consider compliance with national and international regulations, as well as procedure alignment to safety demands along with potential resistance among stakeholders. In another example, with respect to schedule clarification, you may need to consider processes of implementation that cannot be expedited, as well as potential logistics being complicated. Finally, in the resource clarification, you may need to consider the marginal value of added resources and financial constraints to funding. These are only examples, but you get the point. Let's now look at attempts to alter the baseline later on. Trying later in the project implementation to open up boxed elements most often leads to reopening negotiations, especially if the implementation is put in motion without any funding buffer. This can be troublesome in traditional waterfall projects with relatively fixed schedules and funding, so needless to say that a profound initial baseline mostly is to prefer. Accepting a reopening of one or more of the three elements raises some crucial questions that the project manager must confront the steering committee with. If resources are partially withdrawn from the project, can we then lower the functions and the quality in the scope or postpone the deadline? If demand for excessive solutions arise, are we then able to postpone delivery date or add additional funding to compensate? If demands arise to accelerate the deadline, are we then able to add more resources or relax scope requirements? The most dangerous aspect of this usually occurs when project managers, out of respect for rank issues, do not address known consequences of baseline deviations to the steering committee. This most often is the seed of later project failures. The willingness to communicate about crucial project issues is highly related to different project and work cultures in both companies and across national cultures. This is according to Geert Hofstedt, Dutch scholar of corporate culture. When working with functions and quality, they are sometimes exposed to feature creep, new features in a deliverable that has not been agreed upon in the scope statement. This occurs especially in software and applications for high-tech projects. The additional features sneak into the end product, even if they are not relevant but simply nice to have. This can ultimately hamper the basic functions of the product and result in an overcomplicated and too expensive end product. After having done the initial work on the business case and now the design of a project baseline, the final step is the approval of the goals and plans. These elements are all part of a thorough investigation functioning as a proper project foundation. And the business case, as well as objective breakdown and work breakdown structures, are covered in other videos on this channel. When all basic approval phases have been finished, the project is ready for implementation, which is also covered. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you again soon on this channel for even more project management videos.